Hey, Alex.
Hey Jordan, how's it going, man?
I'm excellent, thanks, brother. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Episode 6, here we are.
Time's flying when we're having fun, buddy. How was your week?
Yeah, oh, it was a good week. It was a good week. Yeah, it was a busy week. The weather's been good. We had where I live, it's not always sunny in the winter. We get a lot of cloud cover, and we're on like our third day of blue skies and sunshine in a row. So let me tell you, it does a lot for the mood. It sure helps a lot. It's been good. Yeah. How about
Well,
you?
yeah, man. We're kind of, we're doing the same thing here in Calgary. It's been Chinooking for about 2 weeks. For those of you that don't know what a Chinook is, that's when the temperature goes from -20 to like +10 Celsius overnight. So yeah, we've been rocking double-digit temperatures pretty much for 2 weeks here, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're about to get slapped in the face with reality next week, though. Winter's coming in hot.
Yeah, you got some cold weather and a bunch of snow coming in the next few days, hey?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not looking
Yeah.
forward to that. But
Yeah.
otherwise, man, I'm doing well. Let's wind it up.
Let's do it.
What you talking about? It's time for the show right now. Alex and Jordan break it down from the bezel to the crown. Every second counts, no doubt. What you talking about?
Last week you went first. Let me ask you this week. What's on your wrist today, buddy?
All right, today I am rocking my Venezianico Redentor. Oh, I can never say it right. Oh,
Easy for you to say.
uh-huh. I had it. I had it. Yeah. Anyways,
good times.
it's that one. It's that one. It's my Venezianico. My Venezianico.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a watch that is fairly new to my collection. We're going to review our collections today, so we'll talk about it a little bit more. But it was a watch that I won on an Instagram draw from the Dansum and Venezianico together on the 12 days of Dansum. So I'm rocking my Adventurine dial, beautiful, beautiful watch this afternoon.
Man, and that watch is class. That watch is
Yeah,
class.
this watch is beautiful, and I got it on the leather strap, and then ended up purchasing the bracelet. And, just so pretty. It's just so pretty. So yeah, loving it.
one.
What are you wearing today, brother?
Today I am wearing my, and I'm so terrible at figuring out how camera angles, but today I'm wearing my Black Bay Burgundy, which I'm waving around because sometimes the dial looks black, sometimes it looks red, and everything in between. So yeah, I watched that. I'm still on the waiting list from last May for another company. So yeah, I'm just holding out to see how long that waiting list actually is. Not because I want to be rude. I just want to know how long I would have actually been waiting had I not gone out on my own and found this piece. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Yeah,
watch.
man.
Good for Valentine's Day weekend, and it kind of ties it in with the Olympics going on right now, and Canada, and got your Team Canada hockey hat on right now. So
It's all the red and
Yeah.
representing
Yeah.
the Commonwealth of British Bulldog. So yeah,
That's
she's a big day.
fantastic.
She's a big
Yeah,
day.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we said today, we're gonna do a review of our watch collections. We're gonna share our watch collections for you. But before we get there, it seemed to be a big hit. A lot of good feedback and response from everyone. Last week's the first segment of Smartwatch Dick and his nitpicks. So we had some fun with that, and we figured, well, we're this far into it, we're gonna keep rolling with it. And the surprise this week is that we actually have Smartwatch Dick with us. So he's gonna come on and join us and sit here and give us his nitpicks live for us today. We don't know what he's gonna say. We don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to this. This should be fun. Anything you'd like to add before we roll the intro and take
You know
our
what? All I'm
beatings?
gonna no, man. I think you've nailed the segment perfectly. I'm excited to have Dick on, and yeah, also a little bit of nervous anticipation, wondering what he's picked up on us this week.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of hesitating a little bit or delaying this a little bit because I know what's about to come.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I have no idea what's about to come, but I'm afraid of it. So, anyways. Awesome. Well, all right. Well, with that
Perfect.
being said, let's get into the nitpicks with Smartwatch Dick.
Take it away, Smartwatch Dick.
Nitpicks. Corrections incoming with Smartwatch Dick.
Hey boys, nice to be here live this week. Alex, I got to thank you last week for that great introduction. I got to say, I appreciate how you called me into facts and details. Usually it's condescending and insufferable, so I'm pretty happy about that. No? No? Oh, I figured you were going to ask. Here we go. Garmin Venue 3. I don't know if you can see it there. I'm sure Alex can put up a picture, but really simple face. It's only got the time and day date, but if you look closely, it's basically like a jumping hour face. So I don't want to crap on the watch last week that cost like a year's salary, but I think it's quite a bit prettier. All right, on to the nitpicks. So there's a bit of a theme this week. Jordan's math. Now, we're talking about the Breitling Aston Martin. You said the Aston Martin version's about $13,900. The regular one's going for about $13,400. And that's a $1,500 difference. About a $1,500 difference. The word about is doing a lot of work in that sentence. But you also did say at one point that a $90,000 watch is 90,000 times more than a $1,000 watch. So you could have used a lot of abouts in that one, I'm afraid. Now this one's for the Spotify and Apple listeners. Alex, I could tell you love the Breitling watch, but people who are listening in audio do not really get much out of you sitting slack-jawed saying, wow, wow. Doesn't do a lot for the podcast listener. An audio medium is really no place to be lost for words. But I think the lesson here is if you're just listening, it's definitely worth your time to subscribe and watch on YouTube. You get to see the watches the guys are talking about. Plus you get to see Alex's jaw on the floor when he sees one he likes. Now, a little bit of information. Jordan, I appreciate you last week talking about the COSC. So when you were talking about the chronographs, Swiss certification, etc. So the COSC got me doing some research. So it's the Control Official Suisse de Chronometers. Now what they do is they get watches from the manufacturers and test them to see if they're accurate. This is only done for Swiss watches. Sorry, Jordy, you probably know all this stuff, but I'm making sure the masses know too, as well as Alex. So they've got 164 employees in 3 labs. They actually certify over 2 million movements and watches every year. The level you were talking about, the certified chronometer, basically it's a 20-day process. The manufacturer must send in the movement and the hands. They don't have to send a full watch. Over that 20 days, they test, like you said, at different temperatures. So they test at 23 degrees, 8 degrees, and 38 degrees Celsius. Sorry, Americans, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. They also test the watch at 5 different positions. So vertically at 6, 9, and 3, as well as face down and face up. Over that time, Jordan, you said it has to be within -2 and +6 seconds a day. You were close. The actual standard is -4 to 6 seconds, and that's averaged over 7 days. Interestingly, just last week, on February 12th, they brought in a new standard. So now they have what's called the excellence chronometer, where once a watch passes the first stage and the movement passes, they send it back to the manufacturer. That watch is fully cased and sent back as a complete timepiece. There's a minimum of 4 days of further testing where it's done in more dynamic positions. To pass that testing, it has to be within -2 to +4 seconds per day. I thought this was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that any watch that comes out with those standards was actually tested. They don't do representative sampling and just take one and say the whole batch is good. Every single watch was tested if it has that standard. One more, just for information, we were talking about the AP Noir, 56,000 Swiss francs. You thought it was roughly 90,000 Canadian. Today, $99,250. So just about 6 figures for that watch. The last couple corrections, Alex, Jordan was talking about you being fast. Now, I don't want to speak out of school, but I once saw you at 2 in the morning racing the son of a friend of ours down the street, Shout out to Heaven Juice Box. Let's just say the speed was not blazing, but we didn't end up going to the emergency room, so that's better than some of our trips, so we'll take our victories where we get them. The strangest part of last week's episode, Jordan, you mentioned having pictures of Alex wrestling. I can't even imagine. I don't know what that situation is. I'm glad that those pictures didn't come to light. You also at some point confused centimeters and millimeters, so I'm just glad our viewer Wendy C didn't have pictures of you confusing that one either. That's it for last week's episode. As always, we're open to your comments, corrections, anything you'd like. Please send the guys messages, follow them on Instagram, YouTube comments, whatever you want. If you want to come directly to me and get on the Smartwatch Dick segment, as always, WYTA Nitpicks at gmail.com. Oh. Sorry. Lily's telling me that I got to go practice my Duolingo. See you guys next week.
All right. Well, another weekly segment of second segment of Smartwatch Dick coming in to give us his feedback from last week's episode. Sorry that I saw a watch that I kind of was smitten with, and it left me a little speechless. I'll do some talking right now for you, mister.
Yeah, wow, he's on us, hey? Like I'm a banker, Smartwatch Dick. I know exactly all the current, conversions from Swiss francs to Canadian dollars, including banking fees as well. Yeah, there's a lot of weight on the about because I'm about terrible at math.
I have to admit, though, if I had one piece of feedback for myself after last week's episode, it was like, hey, dummy, not everyone's watching YouTube. You got to talk after you see something you like. So I'm not surprised that he caught me on that. What's even funny is you commented on it after, like, hey, sorry, I kind of left you hanging on that bit. And to me, that's why I told you not to look at it, because I didn't think you'd be speechless, but I wanted to catch your true and natural reaction to that watch, and it was everything I'd hoped for, and maybe even a little more actually. Yeah, we definitely got it. It. So here's my favorite part. So we're on episode 6 now. We're at episode 6 now. Today recording, aren't we?
Wow. I don't know. I told you I'm terrible at math. You're not listening.
And the second segment of Smartwatch Dick. And here he is telling us about watches that are not smartwatches.
Yeah, he's schooling us on COSC certified.
Isn't this an interesting turn of events?
Yes, I think somebody found a rabbit hole.
Right?
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. I want to make sure I'm not justifying my mistakes last week, but, if we're going to talk about COSC certified and the COSC excellence program, that is all also based on something called METAS certification, which is kind of a different thing. And that one is at -2 to +4 seconds a day. So I was talking, I mixed up my terms, but, what I really, like you say, to your point, Alex, I really appreciate that Smartwatch Dick spent 2 hours on the COSC certification website learning about, how much goes into testing an average wristwatch.
I fully suspect by the time we all see each other we're going to see each other in May for Rich's big 50th birthday, for Smartwatch Dick's 50th birthday. So if you're listening, he did give out his email account here. His 50th birthday is coming up, so maybe you want to give him the gears for his birthday coming up. But when we're away on with the boys' golf trip, I fully suspect by then he's going to be switching back and forth from his smartwatch on the course to his real watch off the course.
Yeah, we'll have him
real
completely watch. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Assimilated. He'll be assimilated by then.
Assimilated. Brainwashed. No.
Rich, stop eating protein now, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. I do appreciate that he pointed out that I was going to learn something. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't necessarily learn anything, but I learned that I better stop misspeaking on this show.
Yeah. Spit the marbles out of your mouth, speak clearly, and
Is it bad that the Smartwatch Dick segment after 2 is quickly becoming my favorite part of the show?
You and me both.
Yeah.
It's the easiest part for us. I mean, I got to
Yeah.
sit there and take a little bit of a beating, but yeah.
Yeah, I can take the abuse. It's, you know, if I can get a laugh out of it, you can say a lot of things about me. I don't mind that. Oh yeah, I
mean,
just appreciate Rich, you know, Smartwatch Dick coming on the show because he is, you know, he's a fun guy. Doesn't take himself or his smartwatch too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and lets us know probably to not take ourselves too seriously as well, which I find, you know, that's quite important.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was great having him on with us today live. We'll definitely be doing that more often. And maybe one of these times we'll put him in a headlock and keep him here for a little bit afterwards so that maybe we can have, you know, a response to everything that's being said and not just us sitting here, you know,
Yeah,
going, oh, okay, fair. I guess you caught me. Like, well,
just taking grenades over here.
yeah, I'm a moron. Thanks for pointing it out.
Yeah.
Captain Obvious.
You know, actually, this week it's for those of you that, you know, we're recording the day after Valentine's Day, and so I was actually on the radio this week on CJ92 talking about you know, how Valentine's Day preparedness, and I won't bore you with the entire thing, but I did mention specifically to the guy in the radio that I was a moron by trade. So, you know, So if you go forward knowing that I admit that, and you are mad because I'm an idiot, it's actually your fault because I've just told you I'm a moron. So if you're surprised by me being not the smartest guy, that's on you, not me, because I told you.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. It's like, this is hot. I just burnt my tongue. I told you it was hot.
Yeah. That guy's an idiot. I literally told you I was an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you once again, Smartwatch Dick. It was great to see you. Great to have you on. It was great to get your comments once again. Send him an email, leave him a comment, drop a comment, you know, down below on whatever platform you're on. Let us know what you think of the Smartwatch Dick segment. You know, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying what we're doing here. And yeah, I guess the subject at hand today is kind of mentioned it last week. People have been asking to see our watch collections. I almost said our smartwatch collections. he's in my head, man.
Yeah, man, he's got us.
So people have been asking to see our watch collections, and as we kind of said, what makes these two duds, you know, people that we want to hear talk about watches. So we kind of thought it'd be fun today to show you our watch collection, talk about them a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there. We're going to try do some screen sharing for those of you watching on YouTube. Unfortunately, we're still trying to figure this stuff out, and
I'm going to apologize now because I'm not an expert, but I'll get you there, you know?
we'll get there. We'll show some pictures.
It's kind of like the first time a guy has sex. Like, I'm not an expert, but I'll do my best. You know, I won't be short on try.
Yeah, so it'll be over before you know it. If you are on Spotify, we do upload video to Spotify as well, so you can check out the video there. If you're on Apple, we'll do our best to describe our watches. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I've said many times in the past, I love my watches. I'm going to try and give you details on them as best as I can today. I don't even necessarily know all the stats on my own watches, but I thought this would be fun. So I don't know. How do you want to do this? Do you want to see how this goes? Share your screen and start talking about some watches?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go shot for shot? What do you want to do?
You know what? You pull one up, and then maybe I'll pull up my first shot, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so I'm going to start at what I call my second drawer.
Okay.
So this is, you know, these are my watches that, you know, these are a lot of my work watches. These are, you know, pieces that I just, you know, it's hard to explain what they all mean to me, but, you know, so here's a quick shot. So I like to think I have a pretty eclectic mix. You know, I'll start up in the top left the way we'd read a book. This is my cheap, you know, $35 Winnie the Pooh watch that's just, you know, a fun little 35 millimeter, thing I wear around, and it gets people comment a lot on that one. Next to that, I've got my two fossils. Both of these were gifts from my wife, and you'll kind of see that theme run pretty consistently through this. This fossil, actually, the skeletonization, the fact that you can see the main spring is really cool to me. This fossil is one of my...
that one.
Yeah, and people, like I say, people go hard on fossil, but this is a really cool watch. It
is.
It's a little thick, but otherwise it's that's the dial's really deep. It's cool. Yeah. This is one of my few quartz. Yeah. Yeah, really thick and not cool.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's what it. Yeah. So this fossil is one of my few quartz pieces, and that's what you'll find in this tier here. Is a lot of my, this is where I keep my quartz pieces. This watch was gifted to me. A good friend of mine passed away. This is a 1976 Seiko Bellmatic. So this pusher here actually operates an alarm. So this watch actually has a little buzz alarm, and it still works. I got to get it serviced. It doesn't keep time anymore, but the watch itself does work. These are the $40 wood watches that I was flogging not too long ago on the Home Shopping Network with Alex.
Still for sale.
Yeah,
still for sale.
Still up for grabs. One time low price, special for you, make you a very good price, my friend. But the thing is, these, like I say, these watches were, I want to say $40. I think I bought maybe 45. I bought 3 of them for about $150, including like GST, shipping, everything. So, and for an entry level, just fun watch, if you want some variety, you can get 2 or 3 different styles of those, which I think are pretty cool. So then down here, bottom left corner, I've got my Citizen Ciosa small seconds. There's also another version of Ciosa which has a date window here. Yeah, the dials are very different on the Ciosa small seconds to the Ciosas, or to the ones with the date window. So I find them quite different. This is one of the first Zellos you'll see come up in my collection, which I have 8 of. This is a GMT, Zellos Black Tip GMT. First watch I ever bought at launch and was very excited.
That's one of my favorite of your Zellos. I love that watch.
Well, what's funny is Elshan Tang, who runs Zellos, put this out before Tudor put out their Coke that everybody went crazy for. And I'd say this Coke Zero, that Fume dial is this is just a great. I love this watch.
Yeah. And I'm not. I think it was. It's not that I dislike red watches, but I'm not big on red watches. But I really like that watch.
Yeah, well, he did it, and it's actually number 81, I think, of 150. So I call that the Hell's Angels watch because the nickname for them is the 81s.
Nice.
Yeah, these are my Aquaticos. So these are actually the same watch, one in stainless steel, one in bronze. I liked it so much. So I think it's so nice. I bought it twice. I will say I really do like these watches, but I'll also say this is a very aggressive crown. So as a daily wear, especially if you have some sort of physical job, that crown is a commitment.
It sure is.
Yeah, you will get a callus. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I have a similar watch, and we'll get to it. But yeah, that crown does not mess around.
Yeah, it lets you know.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me knows I love meteorite. So this is, kind of the first meteorite dial you'll see in my collection. This is a Zellos Swordfish 38mm field watch. Seiko NH34A movement. She's a beauty. Really like that watch. I've got that on an inexpensive Amazon strap. Then a Zellos Comet. I bought this actually on a scratch and ding sale from Elshan. I got a really good deal on this thing through a Strapscope Beads of Rice bracelet on it. That's a really nice little Solita SW200 movement. And then as far as sentimental value, this is one of my favorite watches, this little Tissot. Good friend of mine named Greg Pollock bought me this watch for being his best man in 2007. So I've had this watch now for 19 years. Multiple batteries replaced. I've had it serviced, crown replaced. I'm pretty sure my last service cost more than the watch was worth, but that will always be a very valuable piece of my collection. So, and that's what we'll call drawer number 1 out of
awesome.
3.
Out of 3.
So yeah, well, another full drawer like that, and then another bit smaller drawer.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with my smaller drawer. So we're going to start here. So, yeah, this is one of my fossil watches. This was a gift many years ago from my kids. I have 2 kids that chipped in on this and got this for me. So that stays in the collection as well as we'll
See,
get
just
to the other one.
just to cut in on this, just to cut in immediately. That's what I do like about Fossil. A guy that I work with this year for Christmas, his kids bought him 2 Fossil watches for Christmas. Do you know what I mean? So you can get some really neat watches, very inexpensive, and your kids can buy you cool gifts that they love to give you, and you can hold on to for a really long time like that.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, buddy. It's not the watch;
No.
it's the stories.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay. Oh man, I'm messing around with my screens. Here we're back. Okay, this is a pocket watch that I actually just recently got. My mom passed on to me. It's from my grandfather's dad, I want to say. I don't know a lot about it. The little bit of research I've done, I don't think it's very valuable. I don't think it's anything too crazy special. But it's been in my family for well over 120 years. So it's kind of neat to be able to have that.
That's a cool piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. My grandfather's initials and as well as his dad's initials in there. Many moons ago, I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan. My first trip to Indianapolis, I was very overwhelmed how there was a Colts logo on absolutely everything. And I had to have one of everything that had a Colts logo on it.
Nice.
So I bought myself this Colts watch, and I'll be honest with you, the battery died in it a while ago. I have not changed the battery in it.
Oh, okay.
It's not a watch that I really enjoy. It's cheap. The bracelet's nothing very fancy.
I kind of like it. To me, it's got like the overseas type bezel on it there. I think that's a neat looking integrated watch. That's a cool watch.
Yeah, so it's a neat little piece. It was my favorite one that I saw, and it's the first time I'd ever seen a watch with a Colts logo in it. But as we talked about last week, now I'd like a Breitling watch with a Colts logo on it. So tastes have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
so instead of $70, you'll go to $7,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then this is one of the smartwatches.
Look, how are we going to get the stink off us once you put that in your watch box? I'm surprised your watch box didn't start on fire. Probably just puked. If you look behind it, there's probably a pile of barf. Just kidding. I'm sorry, man.
That's so funny. That's so funny. So that is one little small row.
One small section.
start.
How many of those sections do you have?
So I have another watch box. So there's the top section of that box, and I have 10 in there, and then I have another watch box with 12. So we'll get more into my collection here. I'm saving some of my nicer watches for the end.
Saving. All right. Now, do you want me to go through my next tier?
Yeah.
All right.
See what else
So
you
this
got.
is the same watch box, the top drawer of it. And again, these are, sort of the value in the watches go up as I go up in the tiers of the watch or tiers of the box. So this is where you can see I started getting much more seriously into kind of collecting and what I was looking at. So what I'll just start again, top left corner. So this was my first Grail piece here. This is a Zello Sky Raider in a bronze case. You'll see that kind of bronze theme throughout my collection as well. This has an ATA 6498 movement in it. It's an adapted pocket watch, fully skeletonized. When it's not in a box, you can see right through that watch. So this is one of my favorite pieces. I've actually thought about selling it. Then I put it on again and just started laughing because there's no way I'll sell that watch. It's a ridiculous.
If you ever lose your mind and sell it, call me first.
First right of refusal, hey?
Yeah. I call dibs.
That's a great watch. So these are, again, a watch so nice I bought it twice. These are my Zelos Hammerheads. I talked about this on a previous episode. This one has I dunked this one in the canals in Venice, so this one has some pretty serious patina going. If you're a spec monster, these watches are dive rated to 300 meters or 1,000 feet if you're American. And again, because I would never ever go much deeper than a lake, that depth rating is a complete waste of time for me, but also something that's very cool. So this one's in bronze with a black carbon meteorite dial, so you can't really see the grade of the meteorite on that one. Where this one is titanium with the gray meteorite, and you can really see that one. That dial really pops. In the sunlight, you can really see some sort of flecks of like quartzite in it. It's a pretty cool dial. Moving over still yet, geez, there's 4 Zelos in a row. Excuse me, here's another Zelos. This is a Zelos Aurora titanium with the ice blue dial. This watch is kind of like crushed glass on the dial, so in the sunlight, this thing absolutely sparkles. Again, 200 meters of water resistance, so Zelos makes a really, really robust watch. This one has a Miyota 9039 movement in it, so you're moving a little higher up the food chain accuracy-wise and movement-wise. Then this one's actually another Zelos, but this is a hand-wound at a 7001. So this watch is about 9 millimeters thick. This is a nice thin dress watch. This stamped pattern on this dial just plays with light absolutely beautifully. This in this collection, Jesus, is terribly out of focus. This is my Christopher Ward 12. You can't see it down here, but it actually says chronometer. So going back to what Rich was talking about earlier in the video, this watch has a guaranteed level of accuracy. So this watch, in its prime winding time, this watch will be guaranteed to be accurate to, -4 to +6 seconds a day. This watch here probably runs -20 to +40 seconds a day. So that gives you an idea, in the difference of accuracy between chronometer certified and not. So now skipping back over to the far left side, this is a watch. You can hear Alex start salivating. Some of my watches I do buy when I travel. I do like to associate timepieces with travel. So this watch I bought this past summer when I was out in Nova Scotia visiting some very, very, very close friends. So whenever I put my Breitling Super Ocean Heritage on, I think of Nova Scotia. I literally go right back to the day I bought it, the spot we had lunch while I mulled over the decision. I love this dial. I love the dial's fantastic. These little indices are shaped to look like as if a diver was looking from the underneath the water up at the bottom of a boat. So that's why they kind of have that specific shape to them. That's an absolutely fantastic watch. I just love it. This is my Hamilton Khaki Field. This is a very thin watch, very great, amazing heritage. Hamilton made watches for the Allies during World War I and II. They were an American watch company before they moved to Switzerland. Very, very rich heritage. Very, very, very great watch. I absolutely love this watch. A gift from my amazing bride. Truthfully, I should really say that every watch I have is a gift from my wife. The fact that she allows me to spend our disposable income on watches is a gift in itself, really. So this is my first Seiko that I've ever owned here. It's a Seiko Presage. This is the prettiest Seiko I've ever seen. I'm absolutely head over heels in love with this watch. The only unfortunate thing about this watch is I'm getting old, so without my reading glasses, I can't see the small pointer date. But Seiko made a hell of a watch. That watch is just class.
That thing is stunning. Like, that's a beautiful, beautiful Seiko. When you say one of the nicest Seikos, like, it really is.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and I talked about it previously, is that when I saw that watch, I said, this is the prettiest Seiko I've ever seen. And my amazing bride went back and picked it up for me because she's my amazing bride. This watch we've talked about before is my Duckworth Prestex McLaren edition. Won't go too far into that. And then next to that, my Nomos Glazut. I have a Ludwig. The most popular lines in a Nomos would be the Club, the Tagante. Those are the ones you see most of the watch reviewers talking about. I have the Ludwig. For me, it's the classiest dress watch in my collection. It's 6.8 millimeters thick. The decorating on the movement is absolutely fantastic. 90% vertically integrated, which means Nomos basically makes everything that's going into that watch. This watch is just, to really appreciate it, I got to show you the back, and I think that's something we'll get into in a later episode, is the different levels of decorating and finishing on movements. And again, picture not doing this last watch justice over here on the far right. This is my Christopher Ward Bel Canto. You can see the gear train here at the bottom. This watch chimes every hour. That was, again, another grail piece. I had to put a bonus money down with a bonus I got at work, and then was able to save for the next 8 months until the watch was ready. Unfortunately, I had enough saved to finish paying it off when they called me and told me it was good to go. So that's, again, a really cool thing, is getting to order a watch, that you're going to wait 10 months for.
Yeah, and that's such a cool watch. It's so different. It's so unique. It's just beautiful.
Well, and what people don't, Christopher Ward's a huge name now, and they've been on their way up. I think they've been around for a little over 20 years. But the Bel Canto changed their fortunes, so to speak. They were, known as a really good watch manufacturers, but when they came out with this chime watch, for under $10,000, and I mean a lot under $10,000, it won awards. Quite frankly, it won the GPHG, which is like winning an Oscar for watchmaking, in a price tier which is up to between 2,000 and 4,000 euros, I believe. Which you can imagine the number of watches that get produced in that price range. So that's kind of one of the shining stars of my collection. That's a watch I just absolutely love. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's tier 2, buddy.
That's a nice tier. Oh, it's a good tier. I like that tier. Yeah. A lot of nice watches on that one.
And I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to be able to have a collection.
Yeah. I mean, we're very lucky to be able to have these watches and share them with you today. And it's pretty
even when
cool.
I remember the day I bought my Breitling and I stopped at a rest stop for whatever reason. I don't know if I just stopped to get a drink or something. I was standing on the grass at the rest stop shooting wrist rolls to send to you, because I knew if anyone was going to be happy I bought that watch, it would be you.
Oh, man. When you sent it to me, like, at first I'm like, no, he didn't. He wouldn't buy a Breitling. Like, it just didn't expect it. I was so excited. Like, it's, I don't know. I get excited for my friends, and, obviously we've known each other a long time, and there's a friendship here that, means a lot to me. And I don't know, when I see you excited about something like that, like, it feels even better than when I get it. I don't know. There's something about watching somebody else experience it. So that was a great one to share with you. I loved all the pictures.
And you know what else too? I think there's something like, if I say, okay, I love, if I love Breitling watches, and then I see like somebody like yourself whose opinion I respect, or will go even a tier up and say like a Teddy Baldessare, or a Nico Leonard, or Britt Pierce, whose channel I really enjoy. If I see one of those people talking, nicely about a watch that I have, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? But it basically reinforces the fact that you're making good choices in your watch picks. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, no one else is talking about this watch. What's wrong with me? Why do I like it?
Exactly. And that's, we'll get to that a little bit later with a couple of my watches.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah. All right, we're going to go for, the top of the box or the bottom tray that I shared. I guess I should make this full screen, and I can. Okay, so we got some more watches here. We'll start.
We got some more.
Yeah. What a great comment. See, Smartwatch Dick, I'm commentating while I show pictures. We've got some watches here.
These are watches.
So the Citizen on the right is the one that I wore a few episodes ago. That was my father-in-law's, that I wore just a few days after the anniversary of his passing. The other one is his other Citizen. It's the Blue Angels edition watch. So I very happy and honored to always have to be able to open my watch box and see those every day. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words here for a second. But yeah, so I love having those watches. Those are special to me. I don't.
Those are nice, man.
I don't actually wear the Blue Angels one. It's a little tight on me. His wrist was a little smaller than mine.
Okay.
But
maybe we get a different bracelet for it though, because that's a neat looking watch.
It's something I've thought about, because I think it deserves wrist time. Yeah, it's tough for me because I'm also an old sentimental guy where I like leaving things kind of the same. So we'll see. I'll make a decision on that one day. We'll
Yeah,
figure
I'll
that
work
out.
on you on that one. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. And then my G-Shock, good old G-Shock.
Old faithful.
Yeah, bought this one probably 12, 13 years ago. I think want to say I've replaced the battery on it once, maybe
Okay,
twice.
that's pretty
This thing-
good.
This thing just goes, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this watch. It just goes. It's always ran, even for the years that it sat in my watch box when I was wearing smartwatches. Thing's been great. I love it. It takes a beating. I will say, and we've kind of mentioned this a few times about me, I've always been a fan of larger watches. And
Yeah.
now I'm getting away from that a little bit. I wore this yesterday, and I got to tell you, it was like on my mind all day how huge it was.
You know, I was watching some psychologist guy. Don't read too much into this. But I was watching some psychologist guy, and he said if you really want to feel the weight of your watch and the way your brain works, put your watch on your right hand.
Oh.
And you'll really, it's shocking the difference you notice. It is shocking. You completely, normally you never notice you're wearing a watch. Just throw that hockey puck on your right hand and tell me how it feels. On the next episode, we'll talk about it. Try it a couple times this week.
Yeah, okay. I'll try it this week.
Yeah.
Another fossil that was a gift from my kids many years ago. My fossils are probably like 20 plus years old, I would
Now,
say.
are those numbers on the back of the glass?
Yeah, so the 12, 3, 6,
yeah,
and
because
9.
they shadow, right? That's cool.
Yeah, are on the underside of the glass, which is pretty cool. Yeah, no, you know
I
what?
like
And
that.
again, I think so many people get into watches, and an entry point for a lot of people is it's comfortable and a nice looking watch is fossil, right? I'll be honest, I probably used to have like 8 or 10 of them. I've just gotten rid of them over the years or whatever, and but those are the two that are the most special to me, so I still have them.
Yeah, I like that. That's a cool watch.
The BC Lions watch that we talked about last week, one of the straps, or a couple of the straps arrived. I did not like the orange leather one. It was not right. But this black with orange stitching rubber one is looking pretty good right now. The leather
Suits
version of this, it looks good. I like this. I'm not going to lie. I have a leather version of this coming as well, so we'll see what that looks like. See if it's any better. Yeah. I posted this on my Instagram a few times. So Kia Stinger. If you're into cars, you might know Kia is not a brand everyone loves. Once upon a time, they made a car called a Stinger that I used to own. I don't own anymore. And a couple of years back, for my 50th birthday, my wife put wheels on my car for me. And at the dealership, they found this Kia Stinger watch laying around. And they decided, because I was a watch guy, they would give me this watch and throw it in as a birthday gift for me. So
you know what? I'm glad you
traded-
told that story. I thought you got that with the car.
No, so it was. They couldn't actually remember why they were made or what they were supposed to be. It was just a promotional Stinger watch, and the owner of the dealership happened to have one laying around, and they said, like, to everyone around the store, like, if you know of someone they should go to, let me know. And they, my wife goes in, says, I'm buying these wheels for my husband's 50th birthday, and the guy's like, this is who should have this watch. So
Nice.
I traded the car in, but I kept the watch because I'm not getting rid of a watch.
Well, and that's kind of what I found funny is, he sold the car, but he kept the watch that came with the car. But
Exactly.
Obviously, I was mistaken.
Yeah. So the year that we all golfed in for my 50th, and we went home to see my wheels on the car. That was also the day that I got the watch. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You and I hung out in the garage for a long time just staring at it. So yeah, that's what we were doing. And then, so this is another little fun watch that I really enjoy. I was on AliExpress one day, and this watch caught my eye because I'm a space nerd, and it's a wind-up watch. Just some glass crystals around the bezel.
Those are baguette diamonds, sir.
Oh, sorry, baguette diamonds. My bad. Yeah, direct from China. It's a cute, cool little wind-up watch, and when you wind it, the stars rotate as a second hand. It's pretty cool. The loom lasts. Like
I didn't
maybe 10
realize that was a
seconds on
wind-up.
it.
I thought it was a quartz, actually.
No, it's a wind-up.
Okay,
And
solid.
honestly,
Solid.
When I saw it, because it caught my eye, and then when I saw that it was a wind-up watch, that's all I needed to know, because I just wanted a cheap little wind-up watch. And put it on a nice black leather strap, and off we went.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's the watch that. Well, I was pretty anti AliExpress until I saw this watch on your wrist, and I was like, okay, that's a cool watch. You know, whatever it was worth, however you came across it, that's a neat little watch.
Yeah. And I want to say, I think this thing was $35.
Right, like that's a fun watch.
Yeah. I have this because it's just a new version of one of my first watches as, a young man. Well, maybe not one of my first watches, as came out a few years after I got into them, but I loved my old Casio calculator watch. I love this blue version of it. I don't wear it a ton. I just love having it in my watch box. Reminds me of days past.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. Brings a smile to my face. And when I do wear it, it's cool. I mean,
Nice.
My fingers are way too big for the buttons. It's hilarious. And I love all things blue. I'm a Colts fan, as I've said many times. Casio blue, digital. I love my digital watches and my Casio World Time. Again,
I
had one of those back in the day. I mean, to me, how many watch collectors say you got to have one of these in your watch box. I'm not suggesting that you do, but for me, I had to. So I love this one. I still want to get a silver medal one, but I love my digital watches. And so that's the top level of box one.
Pretty awesome.
Complete.
Pretty awesome. See, and that's, what's funny is, we're both, I would say, easily to say we're equally as passionate about watches. I wouldn't say I'm more than you or you more so than me. And how different are our collections? You know what I mean? Like how, very few pieces will kind of intersect that line of what I'll call commonality. And to me, that's again the cool thing about watch collecting. Like it's whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be, if you're a rich person and want it to be, all the $100,000 high-end watches, then let it be that for you. And if you're like us living in a reality-based budget and, $50 Timex watches are what you love, so be it. And that's what I like about it. And then there's room for everything in between. If you
100%.
just like, cheap Mickey Mouse watches, like who cares? It's your thing. And again, we make jokes about smartwatches, but if you love smartwatches, who the hell are we? Get that smartwatch on your wrist and have some fun with it, because that's all that matters, right? Like really and truly, you just want it to be fun for people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We will make fun of you, but that doesn't mean we don't think you should
absolutely.
have that watch, but we're still going to make fun.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about the hobby, right? Put something on. Like, I don't care what it is. And if Timex, like, I follow people on Instagram that are purely, they post nothing but $100 watches and less.
Yeah.
But I love the photographs they take. I love, the style of their accounts. I love the look. I love watches. I love the creativity that they're showing.
Well,
I'm
not only
inspired
that,
by
do you know
all
how many
of it.
times? Do you know how many times I see those like all watches under $100 kind of Instagram pages, and immediately go look at the watches they've shown me that I could look at for under $100, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how you find cool watches, and it doesn't always have to be expensive, or it doesn't always have to be $40. Like it's whatever you want it to be. Like I said, and that to me is the amazing thing. It's watches are art, and art is completely subjective.
Yeah. I meant to mention when I was showing the BC Lions watch, the guy Jim that gave that to me, he was pretty excited that, we talked about it on the show last week, and I was listening to it on audio only, and he actually jumped over to YouTube because he's like, oh, Alex said he got some straps, so he jumped over to see the straps. So he was pretty excited. We had a meeting on Friday, so after business was done, we caught up for a few minutes. So he jumped over to see the picture. So again, if you're listening on audio, I apologize. This is probably not the best episode for you, but Spotify does have video, and YouTube, jump on over, and like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and we appreciate all your support. So just wanted to add that in. So thanks for supporting Jim. We're creating another monster. He's already had the itch for watches before, and I think the itch is turning into a fever.
Well, the last thing you want to be doing is drinking the Kool-Aid, Jim. That's what I could tell you. Like it's.
Well, he did make the
Kool-Aid
one comment about the expensive watches we're talking about, he's like, they're really nice and all, but for $25,000, I'm buying a new motorcycle, not a watch. Fair enough.
100%. And I get it. But I will say this, when your motorcycle's parked in the winter, Jim, you could still wear your watch. Just saying. Just saying.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Maybe buy a $24,000 motorcycle and a nice $1,000 timepiece to run through the winter.
See, it's all about balance.
Yeah,
It's
that's
all
right.
about
That's
balance.
right.
Yeah.
You know, because
balance.
and that's the thing in life is people like. There's people that would look and say, "Man, can you believe that guy would spend $25,000 on a motorcycle?" I'm like, I can if he loves it. Like it is, you know, for everybody that's relative. You know.
Yeah. You spend 25 grand on a motorcycle easy.
Yeah, I think you probably sneeze 25 grand on a motorcycle now.
Yeah.
Like and the price of everything is skyrocketing, including wristwatches. So if you can find, you know, good watches, you know, going back to our previous point, if you can find watches you love for, you know, inexpensive pricing, get them all day. Like, actually, I'm just going to tell a funny story real quick here. One of my good friends is also my financial man, keeps track of all my money for me. And I am, you know, he's my financial advisor. I am his watch advisor. And we went out shopping, you know, a few months ago and picked him up a nice watch, which he then dropped and broke. And I had to take it in and get it repaired for him. So, but he was recently on vacation down in the States, and I was on the phone with him the other day, and he first of all, he apologized to me because he was down in the States and saw this watch he loved, and he bought it without consulting me. So he said he didn't want to insult me. And so he told me all about the watch. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, I said, listen, pal, at the end of all of this, do you love the watch? And he said, oh, man, I love it so much. I said, then that's all I care about. I don't care if you consulted me or anybody else. If you saw a piece you loved and you like it, then buy it. You know, who am I?
Yeah. Well, that's what it really comes down to, right? I have so many people, especially that now that they know, like with this show and everything, like how much I'm into watches, I guess. Everyone kind of feels like I'm immediately judging. And so like they want to talk to me about it. It's like, you know, like like my buddy Rick out here, he's like, you know, like I have a really nice Guess watch and like I don't know if it's good or not. And it's just like, and I always look at him and I'm like, do you like it? Like I'm not here to judge what's good or not. If you put that watch on and you love that watch, that's what matters. And that's what I want, you know, and I love that, you know, Rick and I just talk about watches and there's no judgment. I'm not here to, I don't get, like, we make our jokes, but I don't care what the brand name is on that watch. I'll talk to you about any watch.
Well, the fact that you're wearing a watch immediately gives us common ground. Do you know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
you know,
Right?
like I work with a guy that made a comment. He was wearing an Armani Exchange watch, and he made a comment that it was just a cheap mall watch. And it, you know, and I think he probably heard something I said being a smart ass or a jerk. And I just said, bro, it doesn't matter whether it's 300 or 300,000. If you like it, who cares? And we work at a place where your watches, you know, will take a beating. So he has a watch, you know, that he can wear to work every day. And it's actually a really nice, you know, it's got a bronze look to it or a rose gold look to it with a blue strap and a blue dial. Super nice watch. You know, who cares if it was, you know, an Armani X that you bought at Time Stop? It doesn't matter what brand name's on the watch. What matters is that you like it. Right? Neither of us is sitting here endorsing a particular brand name, right? Like it's all about what you like, and more importantly, what you can afford.
Yeah. Until there's a watch brand that's signing checks over to me every week, I'll beat that drum all day long. If you want to start doing that, until then, I'm impartial to all of them. Yeah.
No, I'm partial to the one you want to put on your wrist, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to get into my last, the top, what I'll call the top tier here. Come on,
you
Ricky.
made the comment
Sorry,
that
guys.
our collections might be a little bit different than each other, but I think the one that you shared previously will be similar to my last layer of watches that I'll be sharing.
Right.
So I think that's where we're starting to cross paths a little bit on our collection, but
Yeah. And then here's where I went a little insane. So yeah, these are my tags. This Carrera, my amazing bride this is the one she brought back from Barbados for me. I don't know if it's the grooves in the dial or the AR coating, that Tag Heuer used on this watch, but that rose gold, that black with the rose gold and the stainless is so legible. Like, that watch is so easy to read at any angle. Like, it's a weird thing to say, but man, it's nice.
So you have a few watches in your collection that I'm quite fond of. Like, a lot of watches I love, but I'm quite fond of. Every time I see that Carrera, like, every time, I fall in love with it more and more. And when you wore that, was that last week? You wore that last week, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I looked at way too many of them this week. Yeah, I'm smitten with that.
Well,
watch.
and I mean, they're
yeah.
Well, and they're a watch. I don't want to go too hard on this, Alex, but they're a watch that you can find for well below retail. If you shop places like Chrono 24 or probably even Joma's shop, you can find some very, very make a special price for you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I've been looking.
There's some value there.
Yeah, I've been looking. I really love that watch, so I wanted to share that with you.
Thanks, man.
Every time I see it, I'm not trying to copy you, but if I ever send you a picture of that one day, I apologize ahead of time. But
I would be flattered. And the truth is, my wife should be. She spent hours in a watch store, and this is something Rich couldn't correct, but my wife did correct for me. I said she got it at like the duty free or something in Barbados. She did not. She got it at a store where she spent hours in there agonizing over this decision, and then gave it to me and was so scared I wasn't going to like it. And to me, it's literally a perfect watch. I just absolutely, the only thing I would change on this, the only thing I would change is, like I say, it has pin and barrel links on it. I'd change those out to put screws in, and other than that, I don't think I'd change too much about this watch.
No.
And the truth is, when Wendy gave me this watch, I was really starting to get into watches, and had heard a lot of people. And first of all, the other thing I want to apologize how dusty my watch box is apparently, but I'd heard a lot of people really go hard on how Tag Heuer used to be good and were now not good. I mean, guys like Nico Leonard would really go pretty hard on them. And when I got the Carrera, I was like, I don't understand what they're saying. I'd look real close at the watch. The only thing I would say is, okay, it wasn't Tag Heuer's in-house movement. It was a caliber 5, which could have been an ETA or a Sellita movement, depending on how many jewels it had. That one, the one I have, is a Sellita. It's a 25 jewel. So to me, it was like one of those, I don't know what they're saying. And then the following year after this Carrera, in early 2024, Tag Heuer released this new Aqua Racer with a COSC certified movement in it. This wave pattern on the dial is just, I absolutely went crazy when I saw this watch actually in the metal. And I couldn't find one. I could only find the 36 millimeter with diamonds on it, which I'm not a diamonds guy, and I was not looking for that watch. So this watch I actually picked up. I was on a cruise in Florida, and they had this watch on the cruise ship jewelry shop. So yeah, I ended up picking it up there. So I probably overpaid with exchange and things like that, but I managed to. People say you can't get discounts on the cruise ships. If you dig your heels in, you can get a discount just about anywhere. So yeah, I did get a little bit off of the retail just because I had to pay a little extra when I got it home. So, but again, you can see the chronometer in orange. I love the orange second hands against the blue. That watch is I just think that watch is smashing. And and the truth is, before I had it, I was at a friend's place, and we were swimming in the lake. They had a boat. We were out in the lake, and we're just kind of floating, and a boat went by in the wake. It's kind of the shape of the wake that came near us. Looked exactly like this watch. Like, even my wife conceded, like, it does look exactly like that dial. So not only do I think of the trip I was on, the fact that my amazing bride let me buy the watch, but I also think of the friends I was with up at Buffalo Lake when I wear this watch. So there's a lot of kind of cool memories tied to that watch.
It's funny because I always jokingly tell my wife, I need a new dive watch that matches my boat.
Well,
and my boat is blue and white.
See?
And like, when you talk about, like, I mean, I can sit there and see, like, I look at that dial, and I see that on my lake all the time.
Right?
It's like,
you could just get lost in it. You get lost in that watch.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And the truth is, I didn't this watch too, when I bought this and when I first saw it in the metal, we talk about two-door, and we'll get to this, the Aqua Racer in particular, the micro adjustment on this clasp, and it's something, excuse me, we should talk about on the show at a later date, is kind of those type of different micro adjustments on clasp. That one might be one of the best ones in the industry. I know the two-door T-Fit gets a lot of the hype, but the Aqua Racer, that quick adjust clasp is just, it's really, really good. So again, nice. All you people, all you kind of watch commentators that are just hating on tag because it's cool to hate, stop it until you actually get one of these Aqua Racers in your hand in the metal, and then I think we should have a different we could have a conversation and see how you feel then. Mm-hmm. Sorry, moving down the line here. Okay, so you see chronometer listed on the tag on the left, and moving to the right on the two-door, you see master chronometer. So that is METAS certified, or what Dick was talking about earlier in the show, which would be the, chronometer excellence standard that Costco's putting out. So this watch is a spec monster, dive rated to 200 meters or 660 feet, accurate to minus 2 plus 4 seconds a day, magnetic resistant to 15,000 Gauss, I believe, so you can take it through the X-ray thing at the airport and it won't mess up the time. That's just a watch that I just love. I could go on about that one all day. This is probably sentimentally my favorite piece in my whole collection. This is, a 25th anniversary gift for my wife. You can see that it's, some scratches on it. It's a well-worn watch. Bought it in Rome. Absolutely love it. Again, kind of gold gilded indices on it, so that watch, again, very legible, plays with light a lot. And my third two-door and final watch in my collection, this is a two-door style with the self-winding, what they call the smiley dials. This is a discontinued model. I got a very, very good price on that from the good folks at Calgary Jewelry. And yeah, man, that wraps it up. That's my collection in all its glory.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, that's a nice one. That's a good picture to end on.
Yeah, I say, and I mean, well, and that's, those are the watches that a guy really saves for, or you get a bonus at work, and, so every one of those is somehow a milestone for me. And I won't get into every story because we don't have all that much time, and I want to see your final tears here. But yeah, I mean, those are watches that really mean a lot to me. And, and just not only, yeah, there's a story behind the watch, but the story of where my wife and I have come through in our life, where we started out and where we are today. Those watch have a lot more than any financial value could ever tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the great thing, right? And I love that you mentioned earlier, you like to buy watches when you travel. I mean, just you look at that thing and that rush of memories that come back to you, especially you're out and about having a day at work, whatever's going on, and look down, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see the time, but it's nice to kind of, sometimes I find myself looking at my watch and something, like I have thoughts racing through my head, and then I realize I still don't know what time it is. Because I was thinking about something about the watch, and I realized I'm zoned out, and I'm not even actually reading the time too. So
yeah, well, and again, it's just, to me, one of those, that watch will always kind of take you back. I can tell you kind of what feelings I had when I found the watch. I could tell you, the look on my wife's face when she saw the look on my face, and then the guilt I felt after I bought these expensive watches. If you don't feel a little buyer's remorse, you probably didn't spend enough,
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is kind of my biggest tray-ish here, so we'll pull this one up. All right.
Oh, yeah, the big dogs.
So I'm going to start in the top left corner, and as you can see, my box is dusty too. I realize some of my watches are dusty and issues.
That's one of those reissue invisible watches in the top left there.
Yeah, it's a John Cena watch. Okay.
Well played.
Yeah, Yeah. So I don't know why I set myself up for this. The last picture I shared got me choked up, and I'm about to do it to myself again. Anyways, this was supposed to be full. Just ran into a slight delay. I have my dad's gold watch that he received when he worked for his company for his 25 years of service.
Right.
It had been having a lot of issues. It was not working. I finally found a guy here fairly locally in BC, and he's been working on it. I'm to get it in the next week or two at the latest. I was supposed to have it last week. Anyways, it's supposed to be sitting there. It'll be on an episode in the next few weeks here.
Excellent.
As
Yeah,
I
we'll
have it
feature
back
that one.
because it's coming back to me. It's working. The bracelet's going to be fixed. I'll be able to wear it. The only thing he couldn't find was a new crown for it, so I have to be careful around water. But otherwise, I'm very excited to get that. So
Nice.
that's what will be in that spot next, where the John Cena current watch is. We've talked about a bunch of these watches on past episodes, so I don't have to go too deep into these as well. But this is my Bristol Clubmaster Regatta. This was one of the watches that I got at last year's Vancouver Timepiece Show. Absolutely love the case on this. Great fun watch. I love the colors. This thing's a strap monster for me. I mean, I have it on the white rubber now. It works so well with blue and everything red. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's a great watch.
Yeah. And then one of my, we're getting to my babies here, right? Like my Zellos Helmsman. Like every time I look at this watch and just sitting here looking at it now, it's just my heart goes pitter patter. Like everything about this thing.
That's a great watch.
For all the watch brands that I've been introduced to, that you introduced me to, like Zellos for me, and I know we've talked about them tons. I cannot say enough about this watch. Floored for what I paid for it. Floored.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, speaking of.
Right. And then my Duckworth Prestix Rivington GMT. I mean, look at that dial. Like, look at this thing.
Well, and look at the polish on that chamfer around the outer edge of that cushion case. Like, that is nice, man.
Really wish I would have wiped all the fingerprints and everything off of all these watches, but here we are.
Yeah, it's not like we didn't talk about it a week ago.
Right. Yeah. And here I was snapping pictures this morning.
I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that too.
I'm prepared. I know you were doing it this afternoon.
You're lucky I'm not just making you edit these in,
Right? Yeah. Got my second hour Fusion, the black dial with the yellow. That watch, I mean,
I even love
just awesome.
the little, people that attention to detail, that little yellow gold piece around that crown is even such a neat little ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a cool little detail.
Just everything about this watch is just fantastic too. To me, this is, it's so thin. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. This we're going to be highlighting on an episode here coming up soon. I know we keep teasing it. We're just trying to get some schedules figured out. And then I have my Venezianico Rentador. I hope I'm saying that right.
Well, you're probably murdering it. They'll get you.
I'm probably murdering it. All you Italians can leave comments below telling me how I really suck at this anyways.
I'll say I can speak Italian. Listen, take a time, make a nice job.
Make a nice job. I worked in an Italian restaurant growing up with a very Italian boss. And I know a lot of Italian things that, we won't get into here, but I know
a lot of
good
Italian swear words.
Because I've heard them all said at me. Anyways. So I'll just tell, I know we've touched on this a little bit. If you're on Instagram, if you're in the watch community, there's a good chance you know who the Dansum is. The Dansum is an amazing guy that runs his account. It's, mostly watches, a lot of golf content as well, which, I'm not going to lie, my online social medias might switch to here coming up soon as golf season comes upon us. But he does his 12 days of dancing, and he has all these watch companies and brands and people that want to give away prizes during the time. And he has all these random draws. And I won this watch this past year.
I think he did 60 giveaways this Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. This past Christmas was 60 giveaways.
Yeah. Absolutely excellent guy. Great to the watch community.
Oh, so good to the watch community. So supportive. His entertaining is an understatement of his social media. Go check him out, The Dansome on Instagram. And if you're not already following him. But yeah, that is the watch that I won in that draw. I mean, it's stunning. The problem is this watch is too nice for me. Like, I wore it on a hike in the woods the other day because I don't know where else to wear it sometimes because I just want to wear it. And I'm posting wrist shots and everyone's commenting like, it's a little dressy for the woods, isn't it? Like,
well, I live in a very classy area of the forest.
Yeah, like I don't get to dress up a lot, and I live, in a small town, and I don't go into the office a lot. So sometimes I just want to wear a fancy watch when we're hiking through the woods.
Well, you go the other way, right? Like I have some fancy watches and still know it. So I'm wearing like my Nomos the other day while I'm packing boxes at work, right? Like it's
yeah, exactly.
It's the way she goes some days.
Yeah. So we got a Casio kind of sandwich with some Seikos. So I've got a Seiko chronograph that was a gift from my wife. I want to say about 10 years ago for my birthday.
I love the handset on that watch.
Yeah. I always forget how nice this watch is, and I've changed the strap on it a million times because it's so much fun to play with. I got a black and green rubber on it now. It's fun to play with the little green hidden gems everywhere on this dial and on the watch. It's pretty beaten up. It's been through a lot. It used to be my daily driver for years. So it's the bracelet was mostly taken off because it had been dragged across so many desks in my IT career.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then my Casio Duro. I mean, when we talk about watches that everyone could have in their watch box for under $100, if you don't mind a quartz watch, bar none, one of the best watches, in my opinion, out there.
Well, $100, quartz watch. Water resistant to 200 meters, so like this, that's kind of for go anywhere, do anything for less than $100. You're not going to beat the Casio Duro.
And I love it. I love it on this white, like fitted rubber strap that I have it on. I get a lot of comments on it. People always think it's something way nicer than it is. If it has one negative against it, it's a big watch. It's a 43 mil.
Right.
And I know that's not for everybody, right? Not everybody wants that big of a watch, but I find that it wears really nice and comfortably. So,
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. And then my Seiko, I love my Blueberry. Yeah. We've highlighted it on episode, another gift from my wife a few years ago for my birthday.
Yeah. I remember when you bought that one.
Pretty common theme between you and I, our collections, gifts from wives.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that our wives love us and give us the things we enjoy,
Yeah, exactly. And then we've got my Aquatico. We were talking about that crown.
That aggressive crown.
Oh, man alive. That thing, after my first full day of wearing it, like my hand was sore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you wear that thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, when I wear that, I kind of make sure I know what I'm doing that day. Right, so I know, like, if I'm going to be doing any kind of real labor, I think, or whatever, I don't put that thing on because it'll cheat. I call it the cheese grinder, like it just grinds up your wrists.
It is, yeah, it's crazy. But I love this watch. This Aquatico, Big Pilot, I think is the model it's called. The dial on it's not really great in this picture, but the dial on this thing, the texture, such a beautiful watch, great lume.
I love the numerals.
Bronze.
Like the font of the numerals. I like that.
Yeah, I like this watch a lot. I had it on a blue rubber strap, and we kind of talked about this. I'm going to take the because I don't love this leather strap that came with the Aquatico.
Right.
So I'm going to take the bronze buckle off of this to try putting it on a blue rubber again, and we'll switch that back maybe this week when I'm playing watches one day. And then the last two of my collection is I got a matching pair. Like Jordy said, I liked it so much I bought it twice. I first bought this Addie's Dive off of AliExpress back when Jordy was trying to tell me that, you know, what these watches looked like, and not in a bad way, but he was like, you know, oh, that looks like a so-and-so, before I really knew, because I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about homage watches or what it is. I just thought, hey, that's a really cool watch. Really thought it was great value for $50, so I bought another one. I probably don't
But
wear
they
them
are
a lot.
for $50. They're amazing.
Yeah, I probably don't wear them a lot in the winter, but I tell you, like in the summer, I wear these out in a lot, and because I can bash them around, and they take a beating. They're quartz
Kind of
watches.
watch you can scratch your boat with, hey?
Exactly, and trust me, they will. Yeah, so they're just a fun little couple of pair of dive watches. I know whatever I'm doing, there's a chance, even if I think I'm just walking the dog, there's a chance I'm going to end up in the water trying to get my dog or something out of something that he's gotten himself into. So waterproof is a big deal out here for me. So they're nice to have. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that, that is
State.
my
What do they
collection.
call that? State of the collections.
The state of the collection. I guess the very first state of the Alex and Jordan watch collection.
Yeah, I've never actually shown my whole collection to anybody really, so it's kind of weird. Like
A little bit. I've never
What's the
done
word
this
I'm looking
either.
yeah, the word I'm looking for. Like I feel a little bit vulnerable now.
You're safe here.
Well, the thing is, because you know, like I was saying earlier, you curate your collection specifically to your tastes. And one of the reasons I don't sell my watches is because most of the watches I've bought have been pretty carefully considered purchases, and I really, really like them. And so I'll think, oh, I should sell some watches, and I could use that money to maybe fund a different purchase. And I look at the watches, I'm like, yeah, but I like it too much. I'm not selling these watches. So one of the things you'll see with me is very few pieces will ever leave my collection. You'll just see stuff go in, you know.
Yeah. And I'm kind of the same way. Like we talked about, I did get rid of a few watches. I sold 3 watches, and that was stuff that like I knew that needed to go. But
Right.
everything else that I have, it's there for a reason. Yeah. You know, and there's a few other watches that I do have in my collection that people have just passed on to me that, you know, I just keep in a separate box that I hold on to because, yeah, they are. But this is my collection that I choose from every day. These are the watches that I stand staring at every morning going, oh, what today?
Yeah. Yeah, my wife thinks it's hilarious if, you know, my alarm goes off, I get out of bed, and then I just stand in front of my watch box, like before I get any clothes out, before I do anything. You know, it's what watch, then socks and underwear, and go to the shower.
Yeah.
You know.
I will admit, though, I did have to do a little rearranging because, yeah, I do have a few of my wife's watches in the box usually as well. But maybe we'll have her, she can be a guest one day and present her watches if she'd like.
We should actually get them both on here one day. That would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, my wife has enough watches now. She has to have her own watch box. So,
Yeah. Oh, hey.
yeah, she's up to 4.
okay. Ooh, good problem to have. 4.
Yeah, anything more than 3 makes you a collector. So that's what I told her. I was like, you got 4 watches, you are officially a collector.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I thought that was fun. Like I said, I've never really done that either. I mean, I know you and I have shared pictures of our watch boxes like here and there, but I don't even know that we've necessarily specifically like shared all of them at once and gone over them and everything. And
No, and I mean,
yeah.
you know, this is one of those things, like, I really think, you know, you and I are at this stage of the game anyways, aren't necessarily a watch review channel, but I think, you know, one of the things we should talk about later is kind of do quick little reviews on some of these watches. So if, you know, if anybody's looking, because of course we sit here and say, you know, I love this watch, I love this watch, I love this watch. But every watch that's in my collection, there's also something about it I would change. You know what I mean? Or I would do differently, or feel that I would do a little better. So to me, that would be a cool thing too, is just to go through these. So if there's any of those watches that, you know, anybody watching saw and would like us to maybe focus in on more and, you know, do an actual ownership review of, by all means, let us know in the comments or send us an email. And yeah, let's keep these conversations rolling.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. Because, yeah, I mean, even though we love them, you know, we also have our reasons why we love them. Maybe it's the story. Maybe it's, you know, that helps you overlook some of the things that if it was just a watch in your box that would drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
And And yeah, so I think that's a great conversation, because as much as I love them, I also have watches in my box every day that I'm not reaching for. So why am I not reaching for them too, right?
Yeah. Not only why am I not reaching for them, why am I keeping them? That's my problem. If I don't reach for it, why am I keeping it? And truth is, in my watch box, the only watches I don't seem to wear are those wooden ones. You know, everything else gets wrist time here and there. Even if it's just a couple hours after work, I'll throw them on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say for me, the watches that just don't get worn very often are my Fossil watches.
Right.
And I don't know why. I think the thing is when I got those watches new, like I mean, you know, I built a collection over the years, but I used to be the guy when I got a watch, like that was my daily driver for the next 2 years. Like, oh, this is my old watch. I'm going to put that one away. This is my new watch. I'm going to wear this until I get sick of it. And then it was usually just go buy another one or something, right? Yeah, so I didn't often always even go back to watches. I sometimes just collected them and let them sit there. And so a lot of my watches were just smashed up.
Well, and that's what, you know, and you and I always go back to, you're scared to buy nice watches because you want to bang them up. And then there's that part of me that's like, yeah, but I want to know that my good watch has been banged up because I was wearing them.
Yeah.
You know, like my friend's kid, my my friend Ty, his son's starting to get into collecting, and for his birthday last year, I was tasked with finding him, you know, some sort of inexpensive chronograph under $200, and which, you know, can be a bit of a task. So I did find him one, and I was out having dinner with his dad last week, and his dad says, you know, what can you do to avoid scratches, starting to get scratched up and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you know, you can buy a watch for $200 and you can buy a watch for $200,000, and they're both going to scratch. So tell him to shut the front door and move on with the rest of his day. It wasn't that polite.
Yeah. I mean, it is, right? That's the one thing, like, and yeah, I mean, I always say, like, I know I'm hard on my watches, but I mean, there's not, like I said, I wore that Venezianico on a hike in the woods.
Yeah.
I there's probably not a lot of people that own a watch like that wear it the way I do. But I'm going to wear my watches. This is my life. This is where I live. And that's my watch. And when I open my box that morning, and that's the one that's for today, that's just the watch that's going on. And
well,
come what may, hopefully it makes it through the day.
Well, and that's my wife and I, you know, we live in an area where, you know, not quite as rugged where you're at, but, you know, we have a nice little pathway down along the riverside that we're always walking on. And it's, you know, our short walk's usually around 5 kilometers. And so, yeah, I'll throw on, you know, my Breitling dive watch, you know, luxury timepiece, just so I can know there's a bridge I'm going to cross that I know I can get a good wrist roll there.
Yeah, see, that's multitasking, though. It's smart, though. You're planning out your content as well.
Well, I was going to say, it's because I'm an influencer and a content creator.
Wow.
Yeah, you also know you're not going to walk back just to take a picture.
Yeah, exactly. And that wrist roll is going to take no more. Let's see, if the average wrist roll lasts 8 seconds, that I might spend 30 seconds there because I might take 3 shots and pick the best one out of the 3, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So,
yeah.
All right, brother, I think we should take it home.
Yeah, let's do it. It was fun. It was good to have Dick on live today. Smartwatch Dick, thank you again for your segment. As always, it was great. It was always great to get your comments and feedback from everyone. I hope you enjoyed our watch review. Again, leave us some comments if there's anything you'd like us to highlight. And thank you once again for another great episode, brother.
It was great. Look forward to the next one.
You bet. Thanks, everyone.
And slow down, we're out of time. Same watch talk next time.